Our anthropology is not derived by human psychology or, empirical data from MIT or something like this. It's derived from the revealed aspect of what we see in Christology. And so there's no real way to diagnose man's problem and to understand man and man's anthropology, as I said, without the right theology.
Yeah, they're having a tough time, David.
Oh yeah, it's been bad, man.
It's been bad, man. It's been a bad month. August 2024 is going to be cemented, man. People are going to remember this time of the year for a long time. Because it's back to back to back to back to back.
Endless losses.
Yeah, but bad. It's not just, they just lost it. It's been destructions. It's been bad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Humiliating, them not being able to have control of themselves, them being exposed for not being able to deal with arguments, the games that they play being exposed. It's been bad.
And it's funny. It's funny because they only have a couple plays in their playbook. You know what I mean? There's only a couple plays in the Dawah playbook, and they run those plays over and over again. And what's happening when people learn those plays and know how to deal with those plays, these guys have no backup plan. They have nothing else in their playbook. It's like, okay, we got these 3 plays in our playbook. Okay, I'll do this. And then people know how to respond to that. Okay, I'll do this. And then people respond to that. And say, let me try this one. That's not working either. Okay, let me go back to the first one. Oh, that's not working. Let me go to the second one. And they just keep doing that over and over and over again. They don't realize it's not working anymore. And that's just what happens when they use the kind of methods that they use, and everything is like trickery and deception and so on, and people catch on. But yeah, it is. I mean, they've been getting dusted everywhere.
The script ain't working, man. The script ain't scripting no more.
The script ain't scripting. And they got the Dawah wars going on, like blasting away at each other. They've got all these narcissists, like every prominent Dawah guy is some form of narcissist. And they want all the attention for themselves, but they've become like uncontrollable with their stupid antics that are an embarrassment to the community. So you have the smaller channels trying to call them out, because some of these guys are like actually just legitimately concerned about Islam. Look what they are doing. Look what they are representing us as. This is embarrassing. This is an embarrassment. Yeah. And so they try to respond, but then they just get smacked down. Oh, you're just jealous because he's super popular and you're just some loser. You see, you're trying to cause division. It is awesome watching this implosion. This is one of the greatest implosions I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to somewhat be a part of, seeing them fight against each other, bringing arguments against them. It's the same on TikTok. Like on TikTok, they're arguing over they're splitting up because none of them are agreeing on whether or not Allah is a father. So you got the Dawah group on TikTok that's splitting up there on Jesus being a Muslim. That topic, it's been bad, you guys. It's been bad.
And like the worse it gets, the more frustrated they get. Because Hatun was actually pointing this out. I hadn't thought about it, but Hatun pointed it out when we were live a little while back. But she pointed out that Islam has always focused on the polemics side, right? They've always focused on attacking other positions. And then if they get to a point where they actually have to defend something they believe, they're not used to it. They're used to other people being ignorant about their position. They can say whatever they want about their position. No one knows how to attack it. And so they stay on offense constantly, blasting away at other people's positions. Whereas in Christianity, the emphasis has always been on apologetics. That's a defense. We're defending our claims against objections. And it's kind of the reverse in Christianity, because Christians get uncomfortable when you start doing polemics. Then they're like, why are you doing this? Why are you attacking other people's positions? And it's like, well, you have to. You've got false positions spreading complete nonsense out there. We need to respond to this stuff. But Christians are like, I don't know what to do here. I'm a little uncomfortable with this. But Muslims are actually uncomfortable with, this person's criticizing my position. I don't know what to do because, where I come from, we just form a mob and kill this dude. But now I know we're not allowed to do that. So what do we do? We don't know what to do. And they're in panic mode. And now we're getting to where everyone's blasting away at various aspects. And it's discombobulating them. They're like freaking out. and then they're all attacking each other. They're all attacking each other because they're all panic mode. This is fun, man. This is fun. These are good times.
It's fun to watch. Have you seen? Has there ever been? You've been in this long time. Have you seen? I guess moments or episodes like this. Throughout the years.
I have to say it is escalating because there's been like the key moments where there was like a shift, like the infamous holes in the narrative interview with Yasser Qadhi. That's like a major turning point in a sense, because it derailed what was at least one of their top three, if not their top argument that they were using, perfect preservation of the Quran, and it just knocked it right off the rails. And so there were big moments like that. But as far as just like back to back losses and being exposed on just huge platforms and so on, I can't think of a time like this. So, and times when it should have happened in the past, like after 9/11, that should have been a time where everyone gets interested and says, hey, what's up with Islam? What's going on with this? We need to take a look at this. Times when it should have happened, it was actually the opposite. It was, there was this huge attack, and all the networks did the exact same thing. They said, in order to show that we're not Islamophobic, we need to get Muslim scholars and Muslim Dawah guys and Muslim representatives onto our programs to explain how this has nothing to do with Islam. And so they'd get all these Muslim speakers on there who say, oh, yes, we condemn this attack. Islam is all about peace, and it's wonderful. We love Jesus. We love Jesus. And they basically said, the more terrorist attacks you do, the more time we'll give you on our networks to do dawah. And then you actually had this wave of converts after every terrorist attack. You'd have 9/11, and then you'd have a wave of new converts to Islam because everyone started promoting Islam to show that they're not Islamophobes. And this happened over and over and over again. And so it was actually, the message that people were sending to the world was, the more terrorist attacks you commit, the more we'll promote your religion. And it was just completely insane. And fortunately, we're getting to where you're seeing the proper reaction to things and people exposing their arguments and so on. So these are awesome, good times. Hey, wait a minute. Here we have it. Islam Ultimate Truth says, Apologetics Roadshow. How can Islam affirm the Bible when it says Injil was given to Jesus? It is common sense that biography of Jesus cannot be given to Jesus. Wait a minute. It is common sense that biography of Jesus cannot be given to Jesus. Yeah, Islam Ultimate Truth. If you go and watch my video, where I go through every single verse in the entire Quran that even so much as mentions the gospel, and all it ever does is affirm the gospel. Not one hint that the gospel has been corrupted. My hypothesis, like what I'm claiming that the Quran says, and Avery, you can tell me if you agree. What I say about what the Quran is claiming is, one, that the Quran is claiming that the gospel was given through Jesus, and that's, Muslims like to say pretend that's the only thing the Quran says, and that we still have the gospel, and that we have to judge by the gospel, and that we have no ground to stand upon it unless we stand upon the gospel, and that that we're in rebellion against Allah if we don't judge by the gospel. So this assumes that we still have the gospel. So the Quran is saying, yeah, there's something given to Jesus, and Christians still have it.
Yep.
That's exactly what it says, right?
Yep.
Okay. So he's saying, how can Islam affirm the Bible when it says Injil was given to Jesus? Okay. So Islam Ultimate Truth. If your God says we have a book that was given to Jesus, who's got the problem there? Us? How's that our problem? How's that our problem?
It's tough.
That's the problem. Stop pretending that the only thing the Quran says is that the gospel is given to Jesus. It also says that we still read the gospel, that we find Muhammad in the gospel written down with us, that we have to judge by this. Stop pretending that the Quran says one thing. We know it says it was given to Jesus. That's part of your problem. Your Quran, your God, and your prophet say we have a book given to Jesus. Where's that book? And you say, so you don't have it. Yeah. So your God is wrong, isn't he? Mm-hmm. How do you not get it's weird, isn't this? This is like 2 + 2 = 4 level thinking here, and they just don't get it.
This equals 5.
Yeah.
Equals 5.
All right. So Avery, you've been doing a bunch of debates recently, and you
Yes, sir.
actually had. Now I heard you just crushed everyone. You went 3-on-1, 1-on-3
Yeah.
on Hamza's channel. Who was that against?
It was actually on Muslim Cowboys channel. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk about getting married to little girl. What do you think about that, old Bessie? How's that? So how'd that go? I heard you crushed. I heard you cooked them. Everyone's saying you cooked them.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. I went on their channel. It was him, it was Hamza, and it was Rumsey, Dawah Overdunya. And obviously, most of the time they wouldn't let me speak. It was really a crap show.
That's what I was going to ask. Did they let you speak, or did they?
No, they didn't let me speak. So basically, I had to match their energy. Oh, they're not letting me. So just show everybody that's not happening. But once there were segments where we were able to have some type of back and forth, and it was bad. They did absolute humiliation on their end. Man. Terrible arguments. This is actually, I think that this is where this guy's getting this from. He's coming from that video where they said, so I asked him, how do you know that was the Injil written? Hamza says, yes, we believe it was written. I said, okay, who wrote it? He says, we don't know. So I say, how do you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John didn't write the Injil then? They didn't know how to answer that. But then he finally comes up and says, well, because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is a biography of Jesus. I say, well, how do you know that the Injil wasn't a biography of Jesus? How do you know that? Mm-hmm. You just told me you don't know who wrote it. You don't know the contents. You don't know what it is. How do you know that Allah didn't reveal a biography of Jesus to Jesus, and that the Christians didn't have in their possession a biography of Jesus as the gospel? How do you know that? Mm-hmm. And so that's where he's coming from.
This guy's the takeaway message. Islam ultimate truth. Look at this. Where'd he go? Look at this. He still doesn't get it. Islam ultimate truth says, do you agree that Matthew, Mark, and Luke was given to Jesus? Let's test your IQ. Islam ultimate truth. No, I don't agree that Matthew, Mark, Luke was given to Jesus. What I agree with is that your book says the gospel is given to Jesus, and that Christians have it, and that Christians are required to judge by it. And your God says we have no ground to stand upon unless we stand upon the gospel. So your God says we have it. You can go to Jamiat Tirmidhi. Your prophet says we have it too. He says the Torah and the Injil are with the Jews and Christians, right? So we have the Injil according to your... Avery, can you... this is shocking to me.
I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so imagine this. Their God says, I hereby declare that Christians have the Injil. And Muslims, you don't have the Injil, Christians, because the Injil was given to Jesus and you don't have that. Hey, I said they have it. Stop lying, Allah. They don't have it. We know you're talking about something else. Which part of they have to judge by the gospel, and they have the gospel written down with them, and they have no ground to stand upon unless it's upon the gospel? Which part didn't you understand? Our Dawah guys say you don't know what you're talking about. Allah. They don't get... I can say this 50,000 times to Islam Ultimate Truth. He will not get the problem. Islam Ultimate Truth. Let me make this clear. You say we don't have the gospel. Your God says we do have the gospel. You are saying the opposite of what your God is saying, and you're saying you're right. If you're right and your God says the opposite of what you say, what are you telling us about your God? You're telling us your God is wrong. So why is he wrong? Is he ignorant? Like you know more than he does? Or is he lying? Which one? And just from your book, I would say go with the lying part because that fits the description.
I would say it's both.
Yeah.
He's lying and he's deceptive.
And it's just amazing. He doesn't get it. Islam Ultimate Truth, you say, let me join for a second. How are you going to join? Just say whatever you want to say right there. If you want to set up a discussion where we can actually have a discussion, I will set that up. It's hard to do right in the middle of this because I need your email. I need to send you a link. I need all that stuff. And I'm not inclined to just hand out a link. I would want to give you something else because don't want you guys bombarding me with calls and so on. So anyway, you want to set something up in the future, I'll give you a Skype link where you can join by Skype and so on. Happy to have a discussion. But my goodness, they still don't get it.
And they're not. It's gonna be like this forever. But we're just gonna keep cooking them on. We're just
Hey.
keep cooking them on this, man.
Yeah, and that's the funny part, because it's like frustrating. It's like, how do you guys not get this? But everyone else is watching and going, wow, how do they not get this?
Exactly.
So they're looking.
Everybody sees it, man. Everybody sees it, except for the few Muslims. But then there's that 1% of Islam that sees the problem, which is why they keep going to these Dawah guys and saying, hey, they're saying this, they're saying that, and do you guys have an answer? How do we respond to this?
So let me ask you just for clarification.
Yeah.
Not if you go to the Quran. If you go to Muslims, and say, what should we judge by now if we want to if we want to know the truth? If we ask Muslims, we say, hey, Dawah guys, what should we Christians judge by? What are they going to say?
The Quran.
Muslims would say the Quran. If we go to the Quran and ask the Quran, what should we Christians judge by? What does the Quran say?
The Torah and the Gospel.
Okay, so the Quran says the opposite of what Dawah guys say. If we go to Dawah guys, not the Quran, and we say, what's the only ground we have to stand upon? What do the Dawah guys say?
May I say that again? I was reading the comments.
If we go to the Dawah guys and we say, what ground do we have to stand upon?
Oh,
What would the Dawah guys say?
Oh, yeah, they say the Quran.
Okay, what does Allah say in the Quran is the only ground we have to stand upon?
The Torah and the Gospel.
Okay, if we ask Dawah guys, do we have the Injil? Do Christians have the Injil? What do they say?
No, you've never seen the Injil. It's been lost.
If we ask either Allah or Muhammad or both of them, do Christians have the Injil? What do they say?
They say that we have it and we better judge by it, or Allah will change our faces and turn us upside down.
And guys, this is the big takeaway. You Muslims who are watching, this is the huge takeaway here. This is very simple. Here are the options. If Allah and Muhammad are trying to say what you say, they're the worst communicators ever. There's never been a worse communicator than your God or your prophet. If they're trying to say, don't judge by the gospel, it's corrupt, and it comes out, judge by the gospel, or you're going to hell. If they're trying to say, guys, you can't stand upon the Torah and the gospel, they're corrupt, and it comes out, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand upon the Torah and the gospel, then they are the worst communicators ever. And when you go that road, and you say, yes, anytime our God and our prophet say something we don't like, we just say the opposite, and we say that's what they really mean. Great. Why would I believe your God? Why would I ever trust anything your God and your prophet say? If they say, hey, don't associate partners with Allah, maybe he means associate all kinds of partners with Allah. If he means the opposite of what he says, and you don't realize the problem here. You don't realize, like, this is a serious, serious problem. The only way for you to avoid what Allah says is to claim without basis that he means the exact opposite of what he says. And once you declare that as your methodology, this is what you do. Wow. All right. So all I wanted to do here, Avery, is go through some of your debate with John Fontaine. So this is different from your debate with Hamza and the other guys.
Yeah.
This is an actual formal debate where you get all the time you need to speak and so on.
Yes. Yes.
But the reason I wanted to check this out, because I haven't watched any of it. I heard someone said that John Fontaine wrote a book responding to the Islamic dilemma or something like that. Is that true?
I think he's actually currently writing that book. He's currently writing that. So I think he's calling it Jesus in the Injil, or Jesus and the Injil, something like that.
That's actually a good title.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in that. So I'm guessing that whatever information he gives in his opening statement, that's going to be his idea in the book.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, before we watch this, what are your thoughts on his case? How good, on a scale of 1 to 10? On a scale of 1 to 10, how strong do you think his response to the Islamic dilemma was?
I think if I'm being real, it's about a 2.
Whoa!
I would say it's about a 2.
That's bad.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was live yesterday, and another Muslim debater came up on my panel and said that John's position is indefensible and he doesn't line up with Orthodox Islam.
And they can't. That's the problem. Anytime they say anything, they're going against this scholar or that scholar or this Quran verse or that Quran verse, and there's no guys, that's what happens when you don't have a coherent position. If you have no coherent position, then this is just going to keep happening to you.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got another comment here from Islam Ultimate Truth. We agree that Bible you have has some portion of the Injil. Entire Bible cannot be Injil. Bible has Injil. Entire Bible cannot be Injil. Actually, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if you want to say that the entire Bible is not the Injil, because the Quran isn't clear on that. The Quran isn't clear on like the letters of Paul and so on, or certain things in the Old Testament. Very, very clear on the Torah and the Injil. Very clear that we have the Torah and the Injil. So here's the problem you have, Mikkel. The word Injil, that's an Arabic transliteration of the Greek word evangelion, that's gospel. In this time, the gospel, if you're referring to a book, was called the fourfold gospel. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John treated as a unit, or the entire New Testament.
Yeah.
So that in other words, if you Muslims, if I walked up to you and I said, "Hey, judge by the Quran," you would assume I know what I'm talking about. If I was talking about some different book that you didn't have, I would need to clarify that. Or you could only conclude that I'm talking about the Quran that you are familiar with. So when Allah is saying Christians judge by the Injil, the one that you have, the one that's written down with you, that either means the fourfold gospel or the entire New Testament. Take your pick. Happy with either one of those options. It's when you guys come along and say, no, your book has been corrupted. Why does Allah tell us we have no ground to stand upon except a corrupt book? Why does he tell us to judge by a corrupt book? Why would he say find Muhammad in a corrupt book? That makes no sense. Now you're saying that Allah's an idiot.
Yeah.
So he's ignorant, he's deceptive, he's just a complete idiot in the way he communicates. This is Dawah. Ladies and gentlemen.